Hello everyone and welcome back. My name is Greg Furman, market analyst here at TraderPlanet.com, and these are the market positions for September the 14th, 2011. Now, just a quick note, my apologies for yesterday's recommended positions. I mistakenly put on the September contract when we should have been looking at the November contract in orange juice futures. So again, I apologize for that, but let's look at this again for tonight because it's still a very good trade. The analysis that we did last night, everything that we looked at, the correlation to the equities, I talked specifically last night by saying, look, the equities in my opinion are going to rally, and that's going to push the orange juice futures up also. There's a very high correlation between those orange juice futures and the S&P 500, which I demonstrated in the charts last night. Now, again, looking at this for a potential trade for tomorrow, we're looking at our triple EMA cross is just completing. We're closing at 167.95. Our three predicted moving averages 167.72, 166.01, and 165.47. Now, this is the first bullish sign. We've closed above all three of the Vantage Point predicted moving averages. Our predicted short, medium, and long-term differences are still above the zero line. However, we can see that our predicted short-term difference is broken lower into the close to finish it off. So we're a little bit, we expect to pull back here. Now, looking at our predicted MACD and our predicted true strength indicator, both have crossed the trigger in oversold territory and are moving higher. They're telling us that the orange juice futures are going to continue to move higher. This would tell me that it's likely the S&P 500 futures after pullback are also likely to move higher, at least until probably late day Wednesday, early Thursday, and then we start to see that position squaring and the sell-off in the equity markets late day Thursday and the better part of Friday. So for a short to medium term trade, the short term still looks pretty good, still looks quite bullish for this particular trade. So now let's look at our crossovers. We're going to look first of all at our short-term crossover. We can see that it hasn't crossed the trigger to the downside. Our medium-term crossover is still pointing up, and our long-term crossover is still pointing up. Now, looking at the Vantage Point predicted high and predicted low of the day, you can see the red line is the predicted high, the black line is the predicted low. You can see we're staying within the Vantage Point predictions, which is good. So we're squaring off a little bit just under this 170 area, but things still look pretty good. So from there, we're going to go into our daily report. And from here, what we're going to do is we're going to try and fine-tune this entry point. Again, much like what we did last night. Now, we can see we've closed 167.95. Our low for tomorrow, 166.21. Our high, 169.09. Now, the neural index is turning down after a number of very positive days. So this is perfectly normal for this to correct lower. 166.21 is our first key area. That's a potential entry point. Your less aggressive traders, they can look to the 165.60 area. That is also a reasonable area right around that Vantage Point 18-day predicted moving average. Now, again, we're going to see volatility with the equities and everything that's going on, but this trade still looks pretty good. Now, with that triple EMA cross very fresh, again, we're looking at, let's just bring that back up again. Now again, looking at this is a very, very fresh cross. We're looking for this to complete. If this triple EMA cross can complete, you can see that whenever this triple cross is completed, there's usually been a rally for several weeks. So if that's the case, then we could be looking back up into this 190 mark again. But I would at least shoot for minimum the 180. So that's our first position for tonight. Now our second trade for tonight is going to be in the stock market, specifically the NVDA, the NVIDIA stock. Now this stock is very similar to one of my favorites, which is, of course is AMD. The AMD is the stock that I recommended just a few weeks ago. I've recommended it twice, one at $6.54 and once at, I believe it was $5.95. Now the NVDA, the NVIDIA, works very closely and follows the AMD stock very closely. Now they both work in basically the computer industry. Just to give you a little bit of history on this. One is a microprocessor, the other one does video cards, but they run very closely. I'm expecting a bigger move, as I've talked about, on AMD, and an alternative to the AMD stock is the NVDA. Now looking at this, you can see that our triple EMA cross is completed about 5 days ago. We can see that we're exactly the same on the AMD stock. So whichever one you prefer, this one here, I'm trading both. So right now we're looking at a close of 1454. Our three key areas, 1435, 1397, and 1362. Those are our three vantage point predicted moving averages. Our predicted MACD and our predicted TSI still looking strong. Our predicted MACD, we're just getting ready to push above that zero line. If the MACD, the predicted MACD, can get above this zero line, this should push this stock much higher. Now again, this will be fairly slow moving with the volatility in the equity markets because of what's going on in the Eurozone, etc. I'm sure everybody knows about that. So that's causing some volatility in the S&P 500. So obviously the S&P 500 up, these stocks are up with it. But even when the S&P really took a hit last week, the NVDA and the AMD stock both held their ground. So that's telling me that the buyers are not willing to relinquish this stock, knowing what's coming in the Christmas season. People buying computers, different tablets, notebooks. This feeds these two stocks. So again, this just tells me that even with the volatility, excuse me, even with the volatility in the S&P 500, these stocks were still holding their ground. That makes it for a good investment for me. So let's have a look at the vantage point predicted high and predicted low. What's it showing here? How accurate has it been? We can see for the last 4 or 5 days it's been quite accurate. We have one candle here that's broken considerably higher, but the last 4 days is staying basically within the vantage point predicted high and predicted low, which is very good. So let's go into that daily report and see what we're seeing for tomorrow. We've closed the last 3 days consistently higher, 1418, 1388, 1421, and then we've closed today at 1453. For tomorrow we have 1425, 1485. That's our trading range for tomorrow. So looking at this particular stock, 1425 is a relatively shallow pullback. That's good. So that gives us a buying opportunity. So our target is going to be just under your short, medium term traders. Your target is going to be just under that $15 mark. Your medium and longer term traders, coming into the Christmas season, guys, I'm pretty sure we can get a little bit higher on this stock, potentially towards the $16, $18 mark. You can see that earlier this year this stock was at $21. So in my opinion, this is some very good buying opportunity down here, especially coming into that Christmas season. So with that said, these are the market positions for September the 14th, 2011. And again, my name is Greg Furman, market analyst here at TraderPlanet.com.